Welcome to Capital Catch-Up, your deep dive into the halls of Congress. I am Victor.
And I am Leanie. Today, we are unpacking a series of major legislative proposals, ranging from environmental protections and international sanctions to tribal land rights and domestic security measures. Let us start with a couple of significant water bills that focus on research and conservation.
Right, first up is House Bill 6893, known as the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Advancement for Training, Education, Restoration, and Science Act, or the Waters Act. This bill focuses on reauthorizing and modernizing the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Chesapeake Bay office. It clarifies the leadership structure and mandates closer collaboration with the Chesapeake Executive Council to ensure scientific activities align with regional agreements.
It is a major step for environmental monitoring. The bill formally establishes a watershed education and training program and implements an integrated coastal observation system. This system will monitor water quality and habitat health and create a management program to protect vital species like oysters, blue crabs, and striped bass. It also requires biennial reports and transparent, peer-reviewed grant mechanisms to improve federal stewardship and public engagement.
Speaking of water research, we also have House Bill 7889, the Advancing Water Research and Collaboration Act of 2025. This bill reauthorizes the National Water Resources Research and Technology Institute's program through fiscal year 2029, authorizing $16 million in annual funding.
What is really interesting here is how it updates the Water Resources Research Act of 1984. It specifically includes the artificial intelligence industry as a key partner in water technology development. By refining the criteria for competitive research grants and prioritizing interstate water issues, the bill aims to modernize federal support for water management.
Moving from water to land, let us talk about some long-standing property disputes. House Bill 2827 and Senate Bill 550 both address land disputes in Illinois involving the Miami Tribe of Oklahoma.
This is a fascinating legal procedure. The legislation grants the United States Court of Federal Claims temporary jurisdiction to hear specific claims brought by the Miami Tribe under the 1805 Treaty of Grouseland. It waives standard statutes of limitations for these claims, provided they are filed within 1 year of the bill's enactment.
That is a very tight window. And to provide legal finality, the bill stipulates that all other current or future land claims in Illinois by the tribe or its descendants will be permanently extinguished once this process is concluded. It is all about establishing clear boundaries for future land ownership.
On a related note regarding tribal lands, House Bill 3925 is the Yuhaviatum of San Manuel Nation Land Exchange Act. This authorizes a land exchange between the United States Forest Service and the Yuhaviatum of San Manuel Nation in San Bernardino County, California.
Under this agreement, the federal government will convey about 1,475 acres of National Forest System land to the nation, and in exchange, the tribe will convey about 1,460 acres of their land to the federal government. The nation must preserve the historical and cultural integrity of the Arrowhead Landmark site, and the Forest Service retains access easements. The acquired non-federal lands will then become part of the San Bernardino National Forest.
There is also Senate Bill 5354, the Native American Housing Assistance and Self-Determination Modernization Act of 2026. This reauthorizes and updates a landmark 1996 act to better address housing needs for Native American and Native Hawaiian communities.
It aims to reduce bureaucratic hurdles by consolidating environmental review requirements and exempting certain projects from federal flood risk and storage tank regulations. It also extends funding authorizations through 2033 and expands homeownership assistance eligibility to families earning up to 120% of the area median income.
Plus, it gives tribes greater autonomy over their own rent, procurement, and tenant selection policies, while introducing targeted support for homeless veterans, students, and youth.
Now, let us pivot to security and ethics. House Bill 9857 is the Protecting Americans from Doxing and Political Violence Act. This bill is designed to enhance the safety of members of Congress, their families, and congressional staff by restricting the public disclosure of sensitive personal information.
It allows these at-risk individuals to request that government agencies and private entities remove or suppress data like home addresses, personal contact info, geolocation data, and family details. Data brokers and businesses must comply within 72 hours of a request, and they are prohibited from selling or transferring this data. There are exceptions, of course, for news reporting, public interest commentary, and information already in the public domain.
In terms of government operations and hiring, Senate Bill 5379, the BIS Strength Act, gives the Undersecretary of Commerce for Industry and Security temporary authority to bypass standard civil service hiring procedures. This is to recruit up to 25 highly qualified experts for specialized roles within the Bureau of Industry and Security.
This authority lasts for 5 years, allows competitive pay rates capped at the vice president's salary, and requires annual reports to Congress, while keeping standard background checks and ethics compliance in place.
Ethics is also the main focus of Senate Bill 5357, the Taboo Act, which stands for Transparency in the Administration's Business Opportunities Overseas Act. This closes loopholes for individuals in sensitive diplomatic or national security roles, like special envoys and advisors, even if they are unpaid volunteers.
It mandates that they adhere to uniform financial disclosure, conflict of interest, and ethics requirements. They must provide written confirmation of financial independence from the foreign entities they engage with, adhere to strict divestment or blind trust requirements, and report regularly to Congress. Non-compliance could lead to criminal penalties and the loss of government support.
Let us look abroad now. We have several bills proposing heavy economic and diplomatic measures. First, House Bill 10138, the CCP Fentanyl Sanctions Act, targets the international flow of illicit synthetic narcotics from the People's Republic of China.
This bill codifies existing executive sanctions and grants the president authority to impose financial and property blocking penalties on foreign persons, entities, or government-affiliated organizations involved in producing or distributing these drugs and their precursors. It targets marketplaces, shipping entities, and financial institutions, though it does include presidential waivers for national interest and exceptions for intelligence operations.
Then we have a series of bills focused on Russia and Iran. Senate Bill 5025 is the Lindsey O. Graham Sanctioning Russia Act of 2026, while House Bill 10076 and House Bill 5334 are the Lindsey O. Graham Sanctioning Russia and Iran Act of 2026.
These bills represent a massive escalation of economic and diplomatic pressure. They mandate sanctions against senior Russian officials, entities supporting the Russian defense industrial base, and those involved in human rights abuses or the destabilization of Ukraine. They prohibit U.S. investments in Russia, restrict energy exports and imports like uranium and crude oil, and block Russian financial institutions from U.S. securities exchanges.
They also penalize foreign vessels and persons that help evade these sanctions, and they extend the existing Iran Sanctions Act of 1996 to curb the activities of both nations.
On the domestic economic front, Senate Bill 3977, the Bankruptcy Threshold Adjustment Act of 2026, updates federal bankruptcy law. It raises the debt eligibility limit for small business debtors to $7.5 million and increases the limit for individuals seeking Chapter 13 protection to $2.75 million. This is designed to help businesses and consumers access streamlined reorganization processes that align with current economic conditions.
Finally, let us review the congressional record from August 24, 2026. Both the House and Senate held brief, largely administrative sessions before adjourning to reconvene on August 27th.
Even though the sessions were brief, several notable items were introduced, including measures to regulate data center infrastructure, tax policies for telecommuters, and a resolution to impeach President Donald John Trump. The record also featured an extension of remarks honoring the groundbreaking career of Fire Chief Latosha Clemens, highlighting her public service and community leadership.
As we wrap up, what should our listeners watch out for next?
Keep an eye on how the European Union responds to House Bill 9892, the Stop EU Overreach Act. This bill mandates that the United States Trade Representative initiate a Section 301 investigation into EU environmental and sustainability regulations, like the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism and the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. The Trade Representative has 12 months to determine if these regulations unfairly burden U.S. commerce, which could lead to retaliatory trade measures.
That will certainly be a major trade development to follow. That is all for today's episode of Capital Catch-Up. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and we will see you next time.